What's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, I'm currently in the process of making a song every single week for a full year. And in this video, I'm going to break down weeks 5 to 8 and share some of the highs and lows of the process with you. During these 4 weeks, I made probably my happiest song ever and probably my angriest song ever. So I'm excited to share both of those with you. Let's get into the first one.
Good luck, I think you'll need it.
Alright, so song number 5 is called Good Luck, He Sucks. And my favorite part of it isn't even a part I did myself. It's this guitar solo by my buddy Avi DG. Shout out Avi. Thank you so much for this solo, bro. He went absolutely crazy. The loudness was the biggest challenge for me on this one. I wanted it to sound really loud, and depending on what you listen to it on, it might not.
He sucks, I hope you see it.
You know, it's landing where it's supposed to be landing in terms of loudness, but I know there's so many factors that go into it that I don't fully understand in terms of dynamics. So that was the big challenge. It's just making a song that's supposed to sound really loud, but not pushing it too much.
Do you still act different after a couple of drinks? Do you still get worried what the people will think?
The thing I'm excited to explore in the future is leaning into this kind of angry or angsty energy when I make music. It's not something I like to carry around with me on a day-to-day basis, but sometimes that anger that does come out of nowhere almost, that captures your attention, and to have an outlet for it in music feels healthier than other possible ways of expressing it. But I'm curious what people think about that, and if they enjoy making angry music, or if that's something they stay away from. So let me know. So song number 6, I uploaded as the score to nothing. And week 6 is where I hit my first major snag, or my first major roadblock. I had experienced some resistance along the way in different forms thus far, but in week 6, I got sick. And so I didn't have a voice. In fact, I was so congested, I felt like I couldn't even hear properly, but I had to push through. I still wanted to meet my goal of making something that week. So because I couldn't really sing, I pivoted from the song I thought I was gonna make, and I just made something completely instrumental, and this is what it sounds like. The thing I'm really happy about with this one are these big drums. I've actually made my own drum rack with a bunch of these samples. Here's what they sound like on their own. And in context, they just make everything a little bit more, or a lot more epic. The bud from song number 6, the thing I'm excited to explore more, is kind of cinematic orchestral arrangements when it comes to strings, for example. So here I used session strings 2 from Native Instruments. I've found that this lush flow sound seems to work best. And what I did is I added some tape emulation from this J37 with a bit of saturation as well. I found that they were getting in the world of being more realistic. And in context. If you have any tips on how to make strings sound realistic, please let me know.
Meet me in the park when you're ready.
Okay, song number 7 is called Meet Me in the Park. And I mentioned off the top that in this 4-week stretch, I made what is probably my angriest and my happiest song. You already heard the angriest one. This is, I think, probably the best vibe I've ever put into a song.
Picnic for one, I act natural. Your face is warm, I walk past you. The fountain flows for no.
So the thing I'm the most proud of with this one, I think, is the writing. I wrote it on the first nice day of the year last year. I was literally sitting in the park, looking around. Everything felt so idyllic around me. I just wrote in a notebook the lyrics, and then I went home and I put chords to it. And, you know, a year later, finally have a demo of it. The thing that was the most challenging for me is just the very beginning of the song right here.
Meet me in the park when you're ready. I've been here since February. The weather's finally better outside.
As you can see, I did a bunch of vocal takes off the top here, and something about just the dry vocal coming in still doesn't quite work for me. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just hitting those notes. Maybe it's the tone of my voice. I could have probably used a few more takes on this, but here we are. Conversely, the thing that I'm most excited about for the future is doing some creative background vocal stacks. For example, in this section.
Ooh, sha-la-la, ooh, sha-la-la, ooh, sha-la-la, ooh, sha-la-la.
I got my ooh shalala on, and I think it works pretty well, honestly. Just really keeps up that carefree energy into this post-chorus. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to try that in the future. You know, oohs, ahs, ooh shalalas, la la las, etc. Alright, last and possibly least, song number 8 is called Surrender. This one was challenging for me. The thorn in my side is the production, because I kind of went into this dance world. It was difficult for me to let go of the fact that the production just doesn't sound as good as I want it to, and I think it's kind of silly for me to expect that it would sound amazing considering I don't make this genre of music very often. You know, the goal is at least to make a solid demo. I think I achieved that, but listen to the song, let me know what you think of that. The thing I do think works well are these, you know, super saturated auto-tuned vocals, which are also a little bit of a cop-out because I just didn't have enough time to make the vocals sound really clear or good, so I had to lean into that.
Take me to a place of surrender. Take me to.
Let's take a look here. We got the auto-tune at 0, 0, 6. So that's, you know, full on. I'm using this Saturn American Tweed amp setting and a significant amount of reverb. But I do enjoy using my voice as an instrument in this way. For example, here, just using my voice as a synth. So that's something that I think worked well. And the thing I'm excited to explore more is just making this kind of quasi-spiritual dance music in general. It's a genre, subgenre, whatever you want to call it, that I'm quite fascinated by. Stuff that's motivational, has a little bit of deeper meaning to it. You know, this one's about letting go, about surrendering to the moment, about finding a place of rest when your mind is super busy and you need to go somewhere else. And there is a place of rest. There is a ground of being where you can always find rest. So the thing I'm excited to explore from this one is making something that is dancey, upbeat, motivational, but has a deeper lining of truth. You know, kind of a groove is in the heart type of situation. That's the goal. All right, folks, that is it for weeks 5 to 8. Thank you so much for watching again. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment on how I can make these breakdowns better. And if you have the time, please go listen to these songs in their entirety and give me your feedback on them, because it's essential for me at this part of the process to keep improving and to keep pushing myself and to, no, actually that sounds terrible. Why would I keep, I don't really want to do that, do I?